That's right. So, hello and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton King, part 28. What's happening?
We're doing more Camel stuff.
More Camel?
Yeah.
Yeah, more Camel. In the shape of Moonmadness. I can now say it because I haven't got a cold anymore. I couldn't say it before, I swear I went Moonmadness. And this follows the Snow Goose. What do you think of it?
It's alright, you know. It's not the same as the Snow Goose in the sense that it's different. But they're not doing more of the same, although they probably are doing more of the same, but more of the same kind of stuff they were doing before the Snow Goose. So more of the same like Mirage, maybe.
Yeah, or even the first album. It's an about turn in that the Snow Goose is so sort of cohesive. It's a bit of a hodgepodge of different things.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it is a concept album, but
yeah,
the concept's kind of
weird. Yeah, some of the songs are individual people in the band.
Strange. Which actually, say it's strange, that means it's interesting. It doesn't really come through that strong, does it?
No, it comes across as just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Lacks cohesion. Perhaps the song order isn't right. Having said that, it is brilliant. There's brilliant music on it. I imagine, just like all Camel, although maybe we'll find out later. We don't know yet. So it is good. A lot of it is about expectation after the Snow Goose, but it is a good album. What's
changed between now and the Snow Goose? Obviously the storyline that holds the thing together has changed. It seems to be, actually, worth noting, this is the ultimate album of this lineup of the band. Doug Ferguson leaves after this album. That being said, you would expect there to be a little bit of fuzziness about it. People normally leave for either personality reasons or they don't like the direction of the band.
Yeah.
So there could be a sense that maybe there's two different directions being fought over within the band, but that's not there at all. You wouldn't know this was on there. This band was on the verge of...
Maybe. Yeah, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, okay. I tell you what, I was getting a little bit... Andy Latimer's flute work in Snow Goose was excellent.
Yes.
And it was very surprising on Mirage. There's a lot less of it on here, and I actually think that's a good thing because it allows some of the other instruments to come in. And
it makes it a little bit different.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I am finding by now. Their sound is a little bit narrow.
Yeah, I mean, we said this at the start, didn't we? I mean, if you like that sound, brilliant. But you have to like it a lot to listen to 6 albums of it. I do, so that's okay. But it would not be for everyone.
I do quite kind of like Doug Ferguson, so it'd be interesting to see how this manoeuvres on. It's not that it's like awesome bass or anything like that, but he does occupy those lower registers quite well.
He's very tasteful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it Floydian. Partially because he just plays very simple. Yeah. So he's just talking about the root notes and not getting funky.
You tend to find Latimer and Barnes, they tend to play around each other. It's not like, okay, Latimer's in the the middle register and then Barnes will do something up the top. They tend to be all in the same area, which is kind of good. It makes that middle register very thick. Yeah. But it could get very squishy. And I think that the bass just gives you that little bit of extra dynamics that helps a little bit.
So, first song.
Aristillus.
I think this is a mistake putting this at the start. It's okay. It's a nice little keyboardy thing. It's very keyboardy, obviously. It is. I don't think it's a Moog, but it's Moogy. Kind of sounds. And a nice little tune. I believe it comes from Andy Latimer, although I think Peter Barnes has input. I think it's actually an Andy Latimer composition, strangely. But it is keyboardy. It's alright, but as soon as that comes on, that'll kind of put you off. This isn't going to be something like the Snow Goose. It's just a nice little but it's only 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like it. It's quite, as you say, short, quite punchy. Lots of different sounds going on in there. Let's say you didn't know Camel and you went round to a mate's house who's playing this album and put this album on and said, yeah, listen to this. I think this track would kind of get you interested.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, there's not much else to say about that, but it's
quite short.
It's a unique type of album intro, isn't it? I mean, there's not much like that I can think of. Track 2.
Song within a song.
This is interesting because it's quite lengthy, it goes through some different things, it has some good melodies in it, but it just doesn't work for me.
It's got quite a banal start, which doesn't help. It is actually quite a good song. There are parts in it that are really good.
Yeah.
The sort of title, Song Within a Song,
it's not a great title.
It sounds a little bit, meta, kind of. and that's immediately off-putting because you're thinking, am I going to get this? There's some good guitariness in there.
Oh yeah. There's some good bits, certainly towards the end.
Yeah, it's quite a nice song. It's a bit like Fluffy Clouds. It reminds me of.
It's a bit underwhelming, I suppose, is what it is. It is. Yeah. There's nothing technically wrong with it. It's just after all the other music we've had. And
the first track is quite distinctive.
Yeah.
And to come in with such kind of such a soft intro after that is,
Yeah. Yeah, but it's actually one of their most popular songs.
Really?
Yeah, which is interesting. I think a lot of. But I mean, I think with the Snow Goose as well, but I think more so with this album, so much of what we're saying is it's just whether we like it or not. There isn't really much else meaningful to say. And song within the song, just I don't like it. I don't know why. It's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on the same really. I do think a lot of it is down to that initial experience of
disappointment.
Yeah, it's a sort of
it's a bit
weak.
Of the 4 albums we've done, it's a very average song. It's below average for those 4 albums.
We've got some vocals on it.
Yeah, again, as we said before, they don't need any vocals on it. It's a commercial move to put vocals on it.
Yeah, apparently. There's a bit of pressure to do that.
Yeah, there was record company pressure to put vocals on it. This says it all, doesn't it? Their biggest album had no vocals on it. They had a huge success. They played the Albert Hall, and the record company said, "Oh well, you've got to have vocals, otherwise you're not going to sell records."
Well,
even though they're measurably, absolutely wrong, they're still saying it, and that's why the fact that those people are gone and that the record industry has changed now is a good thing.
I will say though that although they were pressured to put vocals on this, the vocals aren't really that vocally.
Well, they're not singers, are they?
No.
But if they were going to do it. Get a singer, or don't halfway do it.
Yeah. Track 3.
Track 3 as well. I mean, it's called Chord Change.
Again, another sort of meta title.
Yeah, terrible title. Some nice melodies and stuff going on. Not a lot to say about it. It's alright.
I like this theoretically is Peter Barden.
Yes, I thought that.
Which is
a different thing.
Yeah.
Less stereotypically proggy.
There's some cool drumming on there, and again, it underlines their strength as a sort of jamming band because there's
some nice playing on it. Yeah.
Cool guitar work, cool keyboard work, solid bass, and that's all you can say about it really. So that takes us to track 4.
So Spirit of the Water, really nice little piano piece without sounding like a broken record. It has vocals on it. There's obviously an element of they've written this wonderful piano piece and they've decided, well, we better make this into something commercial, and it's now a song with singing on it. It would have been better without the vocals. I don't mean it would have been the same without the vocals. It would have been better without the vocals. It's a lovely piano piece and weak vocals on it.
I concur.
You concur. It is correct. Done. But it is a lovely 2-minute piece of music.
Yeah. Concise. That takes us on to Another Night.
Another Night. Yeah, I mean this really kind of it rocks a bit more. There's an element of 80s to it, I think, but they do sort of let rip with it. I think it's a real playing song.
Yeah.
Not in a jammy kind of way, but there's a heavy riffiness to it.
Yeah, it's quite good because this is the beginning of the second side, and it's sort of a nice, good, upbeat, jammy.
Yeah, a little bit better. I think this is a little bit better, but again, not a lot to say. It's more Camel.
This is probably my favourite track on the album. It's another jamming thing, but it sounds quite, I don't know, Pink Floydish in places.
It is very Pink Floyd, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some really nice guitar on there.
Yeah, we've got more vocals, Andrew Latimer, but you have to say, sort of, they have all the, because, Peter Barden's does a track, and Andy Latimer does a couple of tracks, Doug Ferguson does a track. It all sounds the same.
Yeah.
So you've got to ask yourself, why are they putting different vocalists on? Why not just have vocalists?
None of them can sing.
It's more like, it's kind of like, it's your turn now.
You have to.
You've got to do it now.
So,
I suppose it's a bit like the first track of Aristillus, in the sense that it doesn't do an awful lot other than play some music. Yeah.
And for me, the album takes off with the last 2 tracks.
Oh, right, okay.
Airborne is my favourite song on here. It's a wonderful soaring guitar piece. Why I find Airborne so fantastic and song within the song so completely monotonous, I have no idea. I just like that one. I don't like that one. There's no musical reason for that. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's just opinion. It's all good music. It's just what you like. And we're talking about stuff we really, 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 really like and stuff we quite like.
Yeah, you treat it to the Andy Latimer sort of full range, aren't you, of guitar styles.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It does sound like 80s Pink Floyd towards the end.
In a good way. Yeah, in that it's very Gilmore-y and that kind of thing, not in a crappy 80s kind of way.
Yeah. That takes us to the final track of the album.
Yeah, Lunar Sea. Now, it's interesting what you said earlier. I don't know if you didn't spot this, but this is stylistically different for me. This is fusion. It's much more of a playing thing, but in a different way. And there's a jazz American influence in what they're doing. It's more dynamic and emotionally very, very different. Great bit of playing, and I love the bass riff.
Yeah.
And it's a real glorious send off for Doug Ferguson, really, because it's a great track. But it is completely different. Well, no, it's not completely different. It is subtly different, which makes it emotionally totally different. I think in that there's an American influence in there, a jazz influence, making it fusiony.
Maybe this is sort of precursor of the way that the band wants to move. I don't know.
That does, yeah. That's the impression I get, but we don't know yet, do we? We know Doug Ferguson is supposed to have left because of the jazzier direction. He didn't like the complexity. This isn't any more complex, but it is certainly jazzier.
Well, the things that I noticed was sort of like the drumming.
Yeah.
Not just in there to keep time, sort of thing. It was part of the arrangement.
Yeah.
In a much more comprehensive way. Some like great cymbal rolls and stuff like that used as an actual instrument rather than just a.
Yeah, it could almost be Brand X or something. This could. It's great, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's a long way from the Snow Goose.
Yes.
A long way from the sort of luscious, relaxing music to this sort of intense jamming.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant.
Yes.
And so ends our review of Moonmadness. Great album. Interesting that it's so different, such a jump from Snow Goose, and they went straight into it, didn't they?
I can't really understand why they did that. I suppose they didn't want to get caught being stereotyped in the Snow Goose doing, the concept album. So what story are they going to do next?
Yeah, and I mean, with the Snow Goose, it's already a stereotype. It's already old school doing concept albums like 1975. Mm-hmm. It's all been and gone. So maybe that's the problem, is that they think, well, this is old hat now, we better stop doing it. But also, probably a lot of effort into getting that into a cohesive piece. Probably a lot of it will be, well, it's a lot easier just to write some songs.
Yeah, and I wonder, because the band kind of melts into the background in Snow Goose.
Yeah.
There's no real personality coming through of the individual members.
Yeah.
And the fact that this was based on a loose concept of the individual makes me think maybe they want a bit of the limelight, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they felt if they did another one of them, they'd just become
Camel.
an interchangeable thing, really.
Yeah. Or it's just record company idiots ruining everything for a change.
Ruining music. Okay, well, I think that's about it then.
So, we'd like to thank you. Thank you for getting this far to the end of the video, if you did. Did you get to the end of the video? If you did get to the end of the video by listening to this, thumbs up. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week for Rain Dances.
Should be a good one.
Thank you.